All right, everyone, a good late morning to you. I'm forecaster Nick Dunn here in this morning as we are tracking another round, believe it or not, of severe weather now starting to move across northern Ohio. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Lucas, Wood, Hancock, Erie, Sandusky, Seneca, Wyandotte, and Crawford counties this morning, and I believe that warning is set to go until, I believe, 11:45 here. And we're going to be continue to monitor this very closely. And I have forecaster Owen Fritz with me as well. And Owen, it seems like we just wrapped up a short time ago, but a potent area of low pressure bringing some strong wind gusts to northern Ohio this morning. And this line racing off pretty quick. I know this is actually approaching you relatively quickly here this morning as well in your area.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like we have been mentioning last night, we're kind of going through the damage reports this morning and some things, but these aren't really severe thunderstorms. We're not seeing a lot of that. I'm in the severe thunderstorm right now. Windy, so it's windy showers is what it is, and so that's kind of what we're seeing here with this line of I want to say storms, but severe storms, and it was just warned based on the criteria of 58 mile an hour wind gusts, which we could, we're kind of teeter tottering today. We could see that anyway. We could see some strong wind gusts even without the actual line that's moving through here. So, kind of that 1-2 punch thing that we talked about last night. I'm not overly concerned, I guess, for as the amount of devastation and things that we had seen last night, but yes, today could be one of those days where we could lose power in some areas. So you need to make sure that you're prepared for that, especially if you're downstream of things, and also because there's wind advisories out and some other things. So make sure that you're heating to that and charging those devices, and have that plan in case you lose power. Now I know that AEP and a lot of the power companies have done a fantastic job with this particular storm, and they're having people stick around and subcontractors there and trying to keep the lights on, and they've done a phenomenal job. And I can say, even with the last storm that we had, they did a phenomenal job of getting the power back on, because you know it takes time, but
Good morning.
they've
Hey,
done a
Mike.
great job of keeping those lights on and the power on. And we just have our favorite friend who just rolled out of bed. I'm just kidding. Meteorologist Mike Joyce and Tyler Phillips joining us now. So good morning to you both, and good morning to meteorologist Mike Joyce. We're just kind of discussing the windy showers, if you will, as it's kind of racing across here north central Ohio. Meteorologist Mike Joyce, go for it.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. And here I am sitting in sunny to partly cloudy Columbus, Ohio, where
Same here.
um, right, it doesn't seem like we're being affected by much other than a few of those very gusty showers. But yeah, these storms up from Crawford, Wyandotte, Seneca, Sandusky, Ottawa, all these showers are packing a punch. But the fact that there is some upward motion, a little bit of lightning, is why that these severe thunderstorm warnings have been issued. And the wind will pack a punch with this. I mean, it's packing a punch everywhere under a high wind warning right now. We're even getting a potential for hail as well. I don't believe the hail threat is all that severe, but you could see some maybe pea-sized or up to penny-sized hail that will not be associated with winter weather. It'll be associated with the updrafts and the cold air aloft, but and it's moving fast as well. These are
It
fast-moving
is.
storms, so they'll impact you, and then they'll be on their way. But the impact could be severe, so that's why the National Weather Service in Cleveland decided to issue these warnings. So might be a bit of a surprise for some folks, especially after a bumpy light night last night. But
Mhm.
here we are, round two once again. In northern Ohio, this could be a bit of a trip for the next couple of hours.
Yeah, certainly. So right now you're kind of looking at this line developing, and I will say that it doesn't look all that impressive on radar, right? There's not a whole lot there reflectivity wise. Yeah, there's a couple spots of some moderate to even some briefly heavy rainfall, but the other thing I want to kind of point out was the velocity product. We're going to kind of zoom in just a little bit. Now keep in mind that when we see these brighter blues kind of popping in here, so Bettsville back down to Fostoria, over here to Tiffin, and then up to Helena, these brighter blues that you see, those are the winds that could be exceeding 60 miles per hour potentially. And remember that a severe thunderstorm warning is 58 miles per hour. So that's why we're kind of watching this to see if we get any wind damage reports. I know Owen and Tyler are kind of watching things across the NWS chat, and if anything comes up, we'll be sure to let you know. So Fostoria just kind of getting out of this as well. Again, this warning goes until 11:45, and kind of giving you a track of where this is going here in the next little bit. So Bucyrus, you are in the path of this. This will really kind of be the southern end of this, kind of moving through Upper Sandusky right now. A little bit of a shower's kind of popped out just ahead, but Upper Sandusky up here to Sycamore, and then up here to Bloomville. This is the southern end of the line, kind of moving off to the east-northeast, if you will. And we're watching that very closely. And I'm going to toss it over to Tyler real quick. Looks like we have a new mesoscale discussion or a watch potentially coming out shortly. And I'm not sure if Tyler, can you hear me? Okay, Tyler's currently muted, so I apologize about that. I'm not sure what's going on there, but Owen, we do have a watch coming.
Yeah, so I'll pitch for Tyler here is we do have a 95% chance of a watch for Eastern Ohio. So that was
Okay.
just came out. It says storms will rapidly develop over Eastern Ohio along a cold front with widespread strong to severe wind gusts expected. The Storm Prediction Center has this at about they got it at 95%. So that's fairly high, right, Mike Joyce? You don't see that too often.
Yeah, if it's a 95% chance, it's almost a guarantee. I guess they give themselves that 5% wiggle room just in case something doesn't happen. But it'd be safe to say a watch is coming out here, and it looks like it's probably going to be from, I would estimate, 71 east all the way into central Pennsylvania, maybe even Lorraine, Ashland, Richland, Knox County. They'll get taken out briefly after, but those are some spots I would expect to see it.
Hey, and real quick too, they're going to upgrade to an enhanced risk as well for this. Based on that mesoscale, they are going to upgrade with a 30% wind probability for northeast Ohio, southwestern New York, and a good portion of Pennsylvania. So, unfortunately, a more widespread type damaging wind event may be about to get started here across parts of northeast Ohio and northwestern PA. And so we're going to watch this very closely. And if you're just now tuning in, meteorologist Mike Joyce is going to get us started off here this morning for a little bit. I'm forecaster Nick Dunn with Owen Fritz and Tyler Phillips. We're going to start we'll see how things evolve. But the good news, gentlemen, is that the tornado risk for today looks a lot lower than yesterday. And we've got a lot of folks cleaning up some damage. We also have a lot of high winds out there right now as well. Tyler, I'm not sure if you can hear me now. We'll try to pitch it over here to you again. I know you guys had some rough storms out in southern Ohio last night. You guys have any damage down there? We might be having some audio issues with him, so we'll try to get that figured out here momentarily. But again, we're going to continue to watch this line, and it's also trying to develop into central Ohio here just a little bit. Mike, we went from sun to full clouds, it kind of seems like, here in Columbus, kind of tracking the southern end of this. It's not severe at the moment, but those winds even down here away from the warning are definitely a little bit on the stronger side.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, all those heavy showers out in Madison and western Franklin County really just fired up within the last 5 minutes almost. I mean, this is a rapidly developing situation, and I think that's why the Storm Prediction Center is reacting so quickly to it and wanting to get this watch and outlook upgrade going as fast as possible, because this is becoming severe. Honestly, much quicker than I originally anticipated. So, I don't think spots like Columbus will necessarily see a whole lot of rain. It'll be a brief downpour, but it'll be potentially some wind damage just from the non-thunderstorm winds alone. I mean, I'm looking outside my window right now, and all the tree branches are moving amongst the very green grass we have on this April 1st. So it's that time of year. It's spring, guys. You know, we're going to have temperatures in the mid to upper 70s potentially next week. Another potential for severe weather midweek as well. So we are in the season, and that's why we have to be weather aware. And I think it was a pretty good timing that we got our app out just in time for our severe weather season. A lot of folks showing that it was working and alerting people.
Yeah, and Owen, I see we have a new warning now. Is that for northern Ohio, I assume?
Erie County. So yeah, Erie County just was issued a severe thunderstorm warning out ahead of this. So it goes until about 12:15. and they're actually now starting to tag a little bit of hail into the 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and they're saying less than three-quarter-inch hail, but they are starting to indicate some hail. So that's interesting. There was a report coming out of Seneca County of some pea-sized hail. We're still getting reports in from Train spotter here in Ottawa County in the area of Genoa. They're saying a 65-mile-an-hour wind gust here about 10 minutes ago. And Port Clinton is reporting about 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So they're seeing some strong gusts up in Ottawa County, 65-mile-an-hour wind gusts with the potential of, with a utility pole snap. There we go. Just trying to think of my words there carefully. But so we're going to start to see this, and then don't forget, Nick, that down below in Columbus in your area, you're still got the high wind. Are you under a warning or what down there?
We are now under a high wind warning down here in Columbus. I'll get that populated up here as well here momentarily. I'll try to get that up so we can kind of talk about that as well, because it's not just the severe thunderstorms that we're going to be worrying about today. It is going to be these really, really high wind gusts. So I will key in that alert map real quick just so that we have that. They appear to keep adding some counties to that warning. So I was a little hesitant to want to add that in here, but we'll go ahead and get it added in, and if it changes, I'll just step off to the side and we'll get it added in here real quick. But if you're just now tuning in again, main threat for today really is wind. We tried to kind of hit that home yesterday too, but real quick, here's the high wind warning. I'm just going to just bring this up here real quick, but just to kind of show you, we do have a high wind warning that is in effect, and it might help if I actually keep myself in there correctly first, right? Let's just try that again. So we're going to continue to watch this very closely here for you today. But again, right now it is a high wind warning that is in effect. As you can see, all these counties that are in this brown shading here. So really almost all of our eastern Indiana counties up and down the I-69 corridor, up and down the US 27 corridor, and then all the way through really western Ohio, central Ohio, southern Ohio, mid-Ohio Valley. Everybody is under this high wind warning. It's for gusts up to 60 miles per hour, which in itself can cause some wind damage. So just kind of be prepared for that today as we continue to work on through. You could even see some power outages. I'm not sure. I know we had some outages left over from last night's storms, and I'm sure those may take some time to kind of get restored as well. I'll take you back over here to radar, and I don't know if anybody has a power outage update, but if you do, just let me know. But kind of widening out the view for you a little bit. Seeing an interesting little core developing here across parts of Crawford County. Bucyrus over there to around Tyro. That's moving up towards Shelby. Richland County are not under a warning yet, but we could see that change relatively soon. So we do have two active warnings. This western one here, which really, if you're along I-75 now, you're in the clear. So Toledo, Bowling Green, Findlay, you're in the clear. It's really kind of just east of those areas, but we still have a warning for Ottawa, Sandusky, Seneca, Crawford, and Wyandotte until 11:45, and now Erie and Huron here until 12:15 this afternoon. And I do see that Ken McNatt is in the comments section, so a good afternoon. Well, it's a good late morning. I may want to call it afternoon here shortly, but Ken McNatt is with us doing awesome work in the comments section. And, of course, we'll keep him in the loop as well, and as storms get a little bit closer to northwestern PA into the oil region, we'll talk about that as well. So very windy and hailing in Fremont. Owen just has a report. No, it's not too far from you. You mentioned that hail, and starting to get a couple reports now out of the Fremont area.
Yeah, that didn't surprise me. There was some pea-sized hail that came in out of Seneca County. So, along this line, and looking here at some of the aloft here, we're seeing a fairly, I wouldn't say intense, but a stronger return on radar just to the northeast of Fremont, moving towards the Vickery area. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing some very small hail in there, especially as we're looking at the freezing line here and looking at some of that being lofted up a little bit. So, yeah, I would firmly believe that, and as I look further here. So, yeah, we have some small hail, but again, I'm sitting in the middle of the, I would say I'm sitting in the middle of the warning, and we're not really experiencing much here, and I'm just to the east of Fremont, so a lot of wind right now. But again, it's going to be more of those gusty showers as we were talking about. And I did just get a lightning alert on the Bell Park weather app, so that's kind of cool.
Absolutely.
I haven't heard it. I did just there I did. I just heard it. I
Yeah.
like it. I'm kind of excited. I haven't heard lightning in about a month, so
Yeah, it's been
kind
a
of
little bit
excited.
on the interesting side. And real quick, also seeing some reports coming in. A couple of folks watching from the Richland County area have not had power since about 2:30 this morning. So just a kind of a quick overall update for you and Mike, since Richland County is pretty much kind of known to you, perhaps let you kind of give some folks. There's no warning there yet, but I would suspect we could get one shortly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, especially that cell up that's entering the Shelby area right now. It's very, it doesn't look very impressive on radar, but it's going to pack a punch. And with all that wind being transferred to the surface and the wind that's already at the surface, the non-thunderstorm winds, I would expect that the situation in Richland County is not going to improve quickly. And one note about electricity in Richland County is. The northern half of the county, so City of Mansfield North, is on Ohio Edison's and First Energy's grid, whereas everywhere south of about exit 169, so we're talking Lexington, Belleville, Butler, they're all on AEP's grid. So the dividing line is right there, and that could basically what I would say is if you're living in the area, know who your power company is, know who to contact. Because if you live in Lexington and you're calling First Energy, you're not calling the right people, and vice versa. So I grew up a mile north of that dividing line, so that's an issue in the area. But either way, crews are going to be working very hard. If you see line workers out there today, please give them room to work. They are the saviors of our modern society. When it comes to having our electricity back on. But then again, they're going to have to be delayed with these storms moving through if there's still some issues in north central Ohio. So that's just kind of a little thing to consider this morning as we track yet another round of storms. If there's any silver lining at all, though, I do believe that these are going to be moving quickly. So the threat, I don't believe, is going to last as long as it did last night. That said, the damage can still pack a punch really quickly. So I would go ahead and say, oh, there it is. There's the severe thunderstorm warning for Richland and Ashland County.
Yep.
So looks like that's going to be for City of Mansfield North and most of Ashland County.
Yeah, so it looks like they went ahead and put penny-sized hail and winds to 60 miles per hour on that. Again, that includes Bailey Lake, Shelby, Mansfield, Jeromesville, and up Ashland. So you have I-71 right here. And so right now the strongest is going to say just to the west of there. Again, this particular core here, if you live in Shelby, I would be really shocked if you're not getting at least pea-sized hail out of that, maybe even a little bit larger. We'll have to kind of continue to watch that. And Tyler, I don't know if your mic is working. Let us know in the chat if it is. And I'll toss it over you here momentarily. But we're watching that particular core. That could pack a separate punch. But again, the overall reason for the particular warning there is we have a nice, very thin line. Again, so the surface-based instability today, not overly impressive, but it is there. Again, we also have an area of low pressure with very cold air aloft, and so that's why we have that hail threat today. And Tyler, are you seeing anything real quick from the Weather Service? And a good morning to you now that your mic is working. How are things in your area as well this morning? As I know Southern Ohio got hit pretty good last night too.
They're pretty good. I have been watching NWS chat, and I did notice that Cleveland sent out a report. Actually, it was from a ham operator there, ham radio operator. A train spotter spotted a utility pole snapped in half at about 11:16 in Ottawa County.
Okay.
They reported a 66 mile per hour wind gust with that.
Okay. No, that's all good to know there. I know Owen was kind of touching base on a little bit of that too. So again, so folks, just because the warnings are for 60 miles per hour, it means that we have a chance to see winds in excess of that. So again, the main reason for the warning is this guy right here. Okay, so it's passing now east of Fremont down through Clyde, down to about Attica here, and then over here towards Bucyrus, and moving into Gallion here shortly. That is moving kind of east-northeast, but we have a couple little spots out ahead of this now starting to develop there near Norwalk and down there into northwestern portions of Richland County. So these couple spots out ahead could also be packing some stronger wind gusts here just over the next little bit. Now, Mohican State Park, you guys will be in the path of this here shortly as well. I'll kind of zoom the radar out just a little bit here for you. And again, make sure that, as Owen has kind of alluded to, and Mike as well, again, Bell Park Weather Network app. I've got the QR code up there. It is still working. I tested that this morning. I'll get us a new one here in a day or so. But real quick, though, you can download that for free right now in your Google and Apple Play stores. Android has been fixed. I know we had a few issues with that, so be sure you go in your Play Store and get that updated here late this morning. And now we have another new warning, and this is going to be for, looks like Marion, Morrow, Richland, Ashland, and Knox counties.
Crawford and Crawford's in there as well. So,
Okay.
Ashland, Crawford, Knox, Marion, Morrow, Richland.
Yeah, I would expect we're going to see that watch now anytime, really. In my personal opinion, I think we're going to see that relatively quickly. Also report out of Marion of some pea-sized hail. So now the hail threat for today, and actually I just got a rain alert that rain is approaching here with our Bell Park Weather Network app. You get that nice, neat feature as well. We also have the ability to send you out notifications when we're live like this. So we are currently live over on Facebook and YouTube. I actually need to make sure that YouTube is working. I'm fairly sure it is. Yep, we are up and rolling there, so that is fantastic. But again, we're just going to have to kind of watch this as this continues to move on through. But Mike, just like last night, similar storm motions moving very quick. So as quick as these wind showers and a few rumbles of thunder move in, they're moving out, and then we're still stuck with these stronger gradient winds through at least early to mid-evening.
Yeah, that is going to be a major issue as well because, we get these showers and thunderstorms out of here, and then we still have to deal with the wind until later this evening. In fact, I believe the high wind warning for our southern communities is going to be in effect until 6 p.m. And even after that, it's going to be pretty breezy. It's going to take until overnight to really get a lot of this wind out of here, but it'll drop quickly, and then tomorrow's looking to be a pretty nice, cool, but nice sunny day for the area. So we're going to get a break for a couple of days, and then we're probably going to have to ramp our severe weather coverage up again early next week.
It sure looks like it.
As a very similar looking scenario is developing off to our west, and some things are even indicating that maybe the risk will shift a little bit east this time into our region. At least a couple things I've looked at this morning. All right, that said, let's focus on the now, though. I think the most intense two areas to watch right now are probably right there in the Sandusky Bay, south of Port Clinton, and then that'll be heading into Sandusky, Castalia, Huron, and Cedar Point. I know they're not open this time of year, but that's just, like you said last night, it's just a good landmark to reference.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Shelby one. This one has the heaviest rain. It's the most intense isolated cell here. It doesn't really look like a supercell by any means, but there's just so much wind energy that any kind of vertical movement by any convection or upward motion from these storms is going to enhance the effect, it seems. So, northern Richland, you should look out. Even that shower that's crossing over from Morrow into the Lexington-Belleville area, so we're talking Troy Township in both Morrow and Richland County, Washington Township, Belleville, Jefferson Township, all those spots are going to have to watch out for that pretty much now. And then back in southern Crawford, like Owen said, the reason why southern Crawford's still in that is because of that shower that's heading toward Galleon, Crestline, Ontario. I know we had some comments from Ontario, some power outages there. So this certainly won't make the situation better, but it's something to look out for, especially as many of our friends up that way are currently without power.
Yeah, and one other thing really quick to note, by the way, if you live down here in Columbus, we are starting to mention the fact that we do have some lightning kind of moving into the area. Just kind of a real quick update for central Ohio. And it looks like Wilmington is not going to issue any severe thunderstorm warnings because we have the high wind warning. There's not anything, at least to me, that's kind of popping out that anything separate is really going to be an issue. But few little quick downpours kind of moving through. Again, there are a few rumbles of thunder in here. I actually just got a lightning alert that there's lightning within about 10 miles or so of me. But again, we have no warnings down here, but it is worth noting these showers will pack a punch as they're working their way off towards the east-northeast very quickly. Looks like we've already had a wind gust well over 45 miles per hour right around the London area there near the airport. So just kind of a quick heads up for you downstream. So we're talking about those of you in Newark, Lancaster, New Lexington, Zanesville, Dresden up here towards Coshocton, And then just to the northeast of Westerville there, this is going to be coming in here really, really quickly. We're going to be watching that very closely as well. Looks like Tyler, I'm not sure what I can't really see the live chat from this far away, but you guys, you have something for us? Okay, maybe not.
He did.
Okay.
Tyler, I'm not sure if you're there, but he's stating that the tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings have been updated to include other counties, and they're working on watches now.
Okay, perfect. So they're going to be so they're going to be issuing that watch here relatively soon. And again, the anticipation here, number one, is we're going to see a watch issued right for a lot of eastern Ohio over here, northeastern Ohio, and also northwestern PA. But we're also going to see that upgrade to an enhanced risk of severe weather. So again, the second day in a row with a level 3 out of 5 risk. We tend to use the number system to try to help you limit that confusion factor a little bit. But northeast Ohio, Cleveland, Akron, Canton, New Philadelphia, Youngstown, you still have some time. There might be a little bit of sunshine out there based on the satellite imagery that I saw in that mesoscale discussion. And as Ken alluded to in the comments section, it's not necessarily our friend today. And Mike, I'll go back to what you said last night. Again, just enough. It doesn't take much when we have these, like I'll call it a cold core type system aloft with the amount of cold air that we have to work with. And we have, again, just enough instability to kind of get things going today.
Yeah, and actually, I'm seeing a little bit more surface instability this morning than we did last night when the storms were initially stronger off in western Ohio. It's not much, but with all that wind energy, like you said, it's just enough. And that's why we're seeing not a lot of impressive radar returns when it comes to our rainfall rates, but we're getting a lot of potential for wind damage. So a lot of wind energy, not a lot of thermal energy, but we have both ingredients no matter how much, and when they're both there, it's possible. So, and again, that's why they're upgrading that risk, especially stretching into central Pennsylvania. Looking at surface observations, we still have temperatures in the low 60s in eastern Ohio. Not a lot of moisture. Dew points are in the 40s, so that's pretty low for a severe weather event. But again, the wind energy's there, so it's kind of making up for the lack of thermal and moisture energy that we typically see in a situation like this. So, yeah, if you are in anywhere east of I-71, all the way out to maybe State College, PA, so Pittsburgh, Youngstown, Akron, New Philly, Canton, Cleveland, Erie, PA, these are places you're going to have to stay weather aware for the next couple hours.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like we are also starting to see an increase of our YouTube viewers, so a good late morning to you. I know a lot of you were probably watching us last night and wondering why we're back at it again this morning. Again, we are seeing a round of stronger showers and thunderstorms starting to develop, and now we're starting to see a lot more reds and yellows and oranges popping up here. So we're starting to see this line intensify just a little bit now from Elyria, that's up there in Lorain County, back over here to Norwalk, down through Willard, Shelby, Mansfield, Lexington, Butler. There's Loudonville right down there with Mohegan State Park. You've got Ashland here. Bailey Lake also in the path of this as well. And again, we're talking about the potential for widespread damaging winds. I know a lot of you guys just had severe thunderstorm warnings less than 12 hours ago. And so you're getting another round right after you're still kind of maybe winding down from round one, depending on how you want to look at that. It's only been about 9 hours since places like Mansfield, up here to Norwalk and Sandusky and Ashland were underneath some warnings. And it's just kind of interesting to see that it doesn't. It's crazy how just a few hours, this really isn't much different in my opinion in terms of an overall look at things from last night. In terms of we're just talking a kind of a thin line, but still it's just kind of crazy. We had a round in the middle of the night, and now some folks are waking up and round two's right here.
Yeah, and we're continuing to watch this line of storms, and I was just looking at YouTube. I know we got Josh Smith who reported that there's some small hail in Lexington, so wouldn't be surprised along this entire line. And Mike, you could maybe give us the nerdery behind this, as I call it, the science of why we're seeing hail this morning being created here with these storms. And I don't even want to call them storms, but I guess they are storms as it's rushing off to the east. So we're seeing some small hail all across the line, along with wind gusts probably right around the 58-mile-an-hour marker. They got it marked at 60. And then there's some areas that we're seeing those isolated gusts well in excess of 65 miles an hour. Some reports out of Ottawa County this morning. But we're continuing to see this as it charges off to the east, and we do expect a severe thunderstorm watch to be issued by the Storm Prediction Center here very shortly. Hopefully, they're going to get that issued because that's we're starting to see again these. Excuse me. We're starting to see these warnings continue to percolate and pop up. The warning for Crawford, Hancock, Lucas, Ottawa, Sandusky, Seneca, Wood, and Wyandotte has expired.
Yeah, it definitely has. And going into velocity here real quick, we'll kind of go up and down the line. And this is a great tool today now that we're kind of getting a little bit closer to the radar site. But it looks like from what we can see on velocity, again, this is why your ground truth reports are so important to us. But kind of on the back side of this initial line, you see this really bright whitish blue colors here. Okay, that's where we're seeing those gusts that could be exceeding 60 miles per hour. So Willard, Norwalk, Sandusky, seeing some of those returns up there. As we kind of move the map downward a little bit, also here into Bucyrus, Tyro, Galion, Mount Gilead, over here to Shelby, and even here now coming into the Mansfield area, again, we're starting to see these really bright returns. Now again, keep in mind, as the radar beam shoots up, we're looking a little bit higher into the atmosphere than, say, if we were talking like Akron or even closer to downtown Cleveland. But again, this just goes to show that we have a lot of wind energy to work with today, right? So even though the warning's been allowed to expire here in Bucyrus, you may still be seeing some fairly strong wind gusts. Down here in the northeastern Marion County, Mount Gilead, and even down here into portions of Knox County. Again, now you start to see some of these greens. These are a little bit lighter and weaker winds being indicated. But again, this is why your ground reports are so important in situations like this today. And I'm seeing a lot of reports as well that it's just windy everywhere today. And again, we have that high wind warning. I'll pop that back up again here real quick just so that you can kind of see. I'll kind of step out of view so you can see the whole map again, just so you can see most of our eastern Indiana counties. You guys are under that high wind warning. Western Ohio, Central Ohio, Southern Ohio through the mid-Ohio Valley and into West Virginia. Again, that is our high wind warning, and there's still a wind advisory, not to be remiss, for far northern and northeastern portions of Ohio into far northwest Ohio and far northeastern Indiana. Gusts of 45 to 60 miles per hour away from thunderstorm activity. Now keep in mind, just because you guys are under severe thunderstorm warnings up here in northern Ohio, that doesn't mean that it's done and over with, right? So once this gets passed, we have still a very windy afternoon in store. Most of the high wind warnings and wind advisories are set to expire at 6 p.m. Again, this guy right here, your Bell Park Weather Network app, will tell you when those alerts expire. You can also go in and just kind of take a look at what's going on in your overall area. I saw Owen just pushed out a little bit ago that we are currently live. You get those notifications every once in a while. You also get the notifications that you have severe storms approaching, and so for some of you, it's probably already kind of an automatic trigger to, oh, we should probably go check and see if Bell Park is currently live. And of course we are. We are usually on top of things. We usually like to try to make sure that we are on for most events this morning. And we are now starting to see kind of our first hail marker of the day officially kind of showing up there. I think Ken pointed this out a little earlier, but up here towards Shiloh and Adario over here, that'll be heading over towards Savannah and Bailey Lake and Nova, which you see that little green triangle right there. That's an indication of some hail. And again, I'm having to use my backup system this morning because for some reason the main one I think is just not liking the fact that probably got a little overworked last night, but that's okay. That's why we have multiple systems to kind of make sure that we're presenting what we can do to keep you and your family safe. So real quick, Mansfield just to the south here from Lexington. Again, another one of those stronger cores kind of popping up here. Ashland, you're seeing kind of a moderate rain shower, but that's kind of riding right up the I-71 corridor. And Mike, I know you got some family up there. Are you seeing any reports from anybody up there so far this morning?
Not a whole lot other than a couple comments we had on our YouTube side. I think Owen mentioned it, that there was some small hail in Lexington, which I certainly believe. So that storm is actually going to be impacting the exit 169 area. So that's going to be talking like snow trails, Possum Run Valley. We're the south side of Mansfield. So anywhere to the east, Little Washington will be impacted by that as well. And then, yeah, you said that storm up to the north that's going to be impacting State Route 13 very shortly. And to kind of answer Owen's question from a couple minutes ago about the hail, we have some very cold air aloft, and it's not very far above our heads that we have this cold air. One, that's assisting the instability we have. So if you have a big gradient of temperature, meaning a big quick change in temperature from the surface where it's at about 60 degrees, and then above our heads it's below zero, about 2,000-3,000 feet up. That's a huge change, and that forces that warm air up, and that's what's firing up these storms. And when you have that precipitation getting into that cold pool up there, that's where you're getting the cold that's needed to produce the hailstones. So that's kind of what's going on in Richland County right now. A lot going on in Richland County. Shelby about to get hit with some heavy rain again. And I'm going to have to hop off here, but just want to mention briefly that it seems like things are really starting to fire up in Lorain County as well, along I-90 and the Turnpike, right where the Turnpike and I-90 come together, South Amherst, and Oberlin's about to get it as well. So I think we have to really watch for this one. And I assume right before the noon hour, we're going to see that watch coming from the Storm Prediction Center. So again, I have to hop off. Stay safe, everybody. I'll kind of keep an eye on things. The rest of our team will throughout the day today, and I'll be popping in when I can.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Mike. And real quick, Tyler, are you seeing anything, new reports or anything coming in? I know obviously we've had some, looks like maybe some gusty wind gusts coming through parts of at least Hancock and Wood County, and I'm not sure if those are related to the line or not.
I haven't here in the last few minutes. I've been watching closely, but I haven't seen anything here.
PBZ is saying that severe thunderstorm watch is coming out shortly, so they must be talking with them. So PBZ is saying that for Eastern Ohio there, Tyler. And a lot of things that we're seeing, though, too, Tyler, is we're seeing a lot of ASOS reports or observation station reports come in for that last line out of Finley and some of those areas. So that's what we're looking at. They're trying to validate that warning, which probably was a very good warning there for Wood County and Hancock County.
Yeah, I see the icon right off the side of my right on the side of the screen over there. It looks like there was at least a wind gust. I'm not sure what speed that was, but I just kind of wanted to let everybody know we are starting to see some reports, whether that's related to the line or not. We'll have to kind of validate that a little bit later. But if you're kind of now just joining us as well, a new severe thunderstorm warning for Lorain County, including the Elyria area and Lorain. And looks like they put that one out for 60-mile-per-hour winds and some penny-size hail. So really now an unbroken line of warnings now, right, from Elyria down through Mansfield to Mount Vernon. So kind of right through the heart of the Weather Service office in Cleveland. And again, we do expect that we will see a watch any time now. And it is worth noting real quick, I know we are not currently live on the Mid-Ohio Valley Weather Update, but if you are watching from, say, the I-70 corridor, keep in mind here too, hey, there is a high wind warning down here as well, and so we'll have to see if the Weather Service elects to issue severe thunderstorm warnings given the fact that there's a high wind warning in effect as well for this area. So we'll watch and see what we'll watch and see what they want to do with that, but just kind of keep in mind today that whether you have a severe thunderstorm warning or a high wind warning, or if you're getting any kind of hail, this is all associated with the same storm system that continues to move across the country, produced a lot of tornadoes yesterday. Area of low pressure is working through. It looks like we have yet another new warning as well, Owen, for Holmes and Wayne County.
Yeah, until 12:45, so 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and 3/4 inch hail. So they're going to light up the whole line. You can expect that, especially in some of these areas that don't have the high wind warning. So you're going to expect that. And do want to kind of give a shout out to the YouTube viewers. Thank you. And I know Tim and some people in Norwalk, we've been chatting. Or Screwdriver 713, I like that. We're talking here, and so thank you for following us. And once we get this line out of here, it's pretty much just going to be a gusty day on the backside of this. But hopefully we don't have any more issues the rest of the day. So definitely one of those days where it's kind of, I say eerie is what I'm saying. That's kind of my word of the day, but an eerie day out there.
Yeah, and I came up with the term wind showers yesterday. You've got eerie today, so we'll kind of bounce off of that back and forth. Yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
I was looking at the chat here, and I did see where Marion's ASOS did report a 58-mile-per-hour wind gust, which, obviously is the baseline for a severe thunderstorm warning. So in a lot of ways, that severe thunderstorm warning definitely verified. And then I saw another one for 57 miles per hour which is east northeast of Oregon, Ohio.
Okay, that, I'm going to be surprised if that one is the water crib station potentially. See if we can go back and maybe look at
Yeah.
that a little bit later. Is that what that one was?
I think so. It has like an abbreviated name for it, so it's kind of hard to know exactly which one it is.
I think you're right. I don't 100%. I believe you're right, Nick, on that.
Now,
Yeah.
Wood County also had a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust.
Okay.
That's been almost
Ooh,
an hour ago.
did you just see the one that came in there, Tyler? 71.
Oh yeah, they are 71.
Where's that
Wow,
one at?
that's actually the same station I was hitting on that had the 57-mile-per-hour wind
Yeah,
gust. So,
Okay.
that's 9 miles east northeast of Oregon.
yeah,
Interesting.
so we're definitely seeing those winds transport to the surface, and like Mike was saying earlier, it really doesn't take much. Even the smallest showers will get a little bit more gusty than they typically are.
Yeah, and really too, the other thing to point out, and this is another reason that I wanted to make sure that I was on this morning. All right, I know a lot of you just got your power back from last weekend's wind just a couple days ago up here across parts of Summit and Stark and Mahoning and Trumbull and Portage counties. You guys got hit extremely hard last weekend, and you just got your power back on Wednesday. And unfortunately, another line of intense thunderstorms, and now we've seen some gusts up to 70 miles per hour. And again, that enhanced risk is going to be coming out as well. That means a couple things, right? So number one, a greater risk of damaging winds, and more than likely, we also could be seeing some winds that could gust up to 70 miles per hour in a couple of spots. We had the high wind warning last weekend, and several spots exceeded 60 miles per hour. So again, I know this corridor got hit really hard last weekend with the wind, and unfortunately, Owen, another round of damaging storms coming through. If the wind, maybe perhaps last weekend, may have loosened a couple of different things, it may not take as much wind, especially where these areas were hit so hard last weekend, for renewed damage to occur. And it could be one of the situations where we see widespread outages again.
Yeah, kind of continuing to watch that, and like I had mentioned earlier, very fortunate. As, in Ohio, a lot of the power companies are having those crews on standbys and bringing in crews. As of right now, kind of looking at the power outages, we got about 48,000 people in Ohio without power. Indiana has about 75,000 this morning. So, or as of right now, I should say. And the hardest hit power outages right now is in Wyandotte County.
Mm-hmm.
So 4,000 people, so over half the customers tracked are still without power. We mentioned that earlier. So that is one of the hardest hit areas here in Ohio. And coming in second would be Henry County, up there with 2,500 outages there, out of tracking about 5,000 people. We're starting to see some sporadic outages right here in Dusky County, and actually now Crawford and Richland County. We're starting to see Richland County about 1,000 or 1,100 people without power there, and we're continuing to track some outages across the state, and wouldn't be again surprised to see that increase as some of these winds have just taken a beating on some of these things. It's not going to take a lot for some of these things to just kind of topple over. Especially, it seems in this area, the wind has just been hitting us from the west, and it's just been continuing to hit us and hit us and hit us. So, wouldn't be surprised again to see some of these. And Ottawa County has a few outages this morning as well, about 300 or 400, I should say. Lucas County is at about 5,000. They're just about ready to cross over that mark, and Wood County is at about 1,000. So, definitely was warranted when we seen that warning come through there. And as it pushes off towards the east, we're going to continue to see that. And again, we're getting those reports coming in across ASOS stations. And again, we're still waiting for. Oh, there's the watch. Okay, the watch finally came out. So.
Yeah,
Yay.
and I will not be able to display that. So if we could also get that posted on Facebook, I'm sure you guys will figure that one out. But so we do have a new severe thunderstorm watch. Do we have an expiration time by any chance?
22.
So that'll be 6 o'clock. Okay, so that'll be until 6 o'clock. We take away 4, and that'll take us. Or no, is that 8 o'clock? That is 8 o'clock. I do believe.
22 is 10 minus 4.
Yep, there we go. So see, this is why we pay Owen the big bucks to do the math for us here. All right, so no, we're just joking, right? We're obviously for a volunteer service,
6
but
o'clock,
sometimes to
you're
make light
right.
of
And
it.
they did, I was kind of looking at the counties here. I don't know, did you get that populated yet, Nick?
I'm not going to be able to display that.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
I will put it up on the page, but Lorain County is in it, so that's where they kind of started it along that line. Um,
Okay.
and they kind of went towards the east. So I wouldn't say an overabundance amount of counties, but Medina, Wayne County, Cuyahoga, Summit, those counties are all in. They went as far south as 77 there, and I believe that's Guernsey County. It is Guernsey County and Belmont. So they went as far south as that. Muskegon is out. Coshocton is in. So that's as far east
Okay.
as far west as they went there. So some in the Mid Ohio Valley now are starting to see that. We're going to go ahead and post this to our Facebook page and get this watch posted for everybody here.
Yeah.
And I
So,
know-
and again, I know I can't display the watch because of the system that I'm using, but I just wanted to kind of point out. So Guernsey County sits here. There's Coshocton County. So if you kind of watch here, there's Guernsey, Coshocton. I'm sure Wheeling is in, up to Youngstown, Ashtabula, back to Lorain County. Okay. There's Medina County there. Okay. There's Wayne and Holmes County. So just to kind of give you a little bit of a visual, and again, that goes until 8 o'clock tonight. It will definitely, by far, be allowed to expire. What was that, Owen?
6.
6 o'clock. Okay, I was right the first time. All right, so we'll get it right here, but just understand that goes until 6 o'clock, and I see no reason for that to be allowed to run its whole course. Right? I don't expect that to really be allowed to stay in effect until 6 o'clock because these storms are racing off to the northeast here, and I'm actually not looked at any of the storm movements lately, but if you guys happen to know any. So we have a new, okay, that does go until 6K, just kind of seeing that there.
Severe things for the morning. Cuyahoga, Medina.
Okay, so we have a new warning there for the Cleveland Metro for penny-sized hail, winds to 60, and let's kind of zoom in and take a look at that. Also of note here, right over downtown Cleveland right now, seeing a new thunderstorm developing here. That looks impressive. This is not, by the way, this is not what's being warned for, right? So that'll be moving up there towards Richmond Heights, Cleveland Heights, University Heights, Shaker Heights, all the heights up there in northeastern portions of Cuyahoga County. This is going to be coming through, but keep in mind, this is not the warning, right? So you are seeing an additional thunderstorm, gusty winds, some very heavy rain kind of working through. What's being warned is this line just off to your west. So Cuyahoga, Medina County, severe thunderstorm warning here for you. That is going to be in effect until looks like 12:45. I'll see if I can pull up the storm motion on that and see how quick that is moving at this particular moment, just so I kind of have a bearing straight here on my end. Again, not able to display some of the things that I'm used to showing you, and I apologize about that. I may have an update that I may have missed or something along those lines, but this is moving off to the northeast at 55, and they also note that strong wind gusts in excess of 50 miles per hour will continue after the rain exits. It's interesting to see that in the warning, but real quick, and again, I know we have a lot of warnings up here right now, right? So we see the one for Erie and Huron County. Okay, this is set to expire at, I believe, 12:15, but that may expire a little earlier than that. We have the one for Lorain County. We have the one for northern Richland and Ashland. You have the one for Marion, Morrow, southern Richland, and southern Ashland in Knox County. You've got the one here for Wayne and Holmes County, and now the newer one for Cuyahoga and Medina County. So that's kind of where things are setting up at the present moment. And again, as these showers and storms work through, we'll see the warnings back to the west be trimmed back as we also head into the next couple of hours as these storms clear out. The watch will also be trimmed back from west to east. But also I did see in there that looks like portions of New Philadelphia. You guys were hit very hard last week as well. I did not realize that, so I appreciate the update there. Again, this is coming right towards you. Again, these areas that were hit really hard. And again, we know that the linemen, they've been working a lot of overtime lately to keep the lights on. We've had a lot of wind events this year, and now we're starting to see kind of that uptick in our severe weather season kind of taking place so far. So we thank them. That is a very tireless job. That is not an easy one, especially when you're trying to work in these higher wind gusts. And again, last weekend we saw almost 500,000 customers at the peak without power, and within a few days everybody was restored, thankfully. But again, these areas just got power back a couple days ago. And obviously they're about to get hit once again. So we're going to want to make sure that we are If you live in an area where perhaps maybe your tree was kind of damaged from that, maybe just kind of move inside and get away from that area, just because again it may not take as much wind for those trees to come down. Anything that was damaged and maybe wasn't fully cleaned up or anything yet from last week, again it may only take maybe even 50 miles per hour to bring some of these trees and power lines down once again. So let's go back and look at velocity here real quick, just to kind of point out a couple of different things. Number one, that cell that's here over downtown Cleveland is showing a little bit of a hail marker just to the east of downtown Cleveland here. Let's go there towards Shaker Heights and all of the communities here, Cleveland Heights, Garfield Heights. Okay, we're seeing a little bit of a green triangle there. And then some stronger winds just over the lake. I'm actually kind of surprised we don't have any. Okay, actually I believe there are some special marine warnings. Yeah, I kind of figured that there would be. So if you know anybody, any boaters or freighters that are out there along this western and kind of central shores of Lake Erie here on the Ohio side, you see these blue boxes. Those are special marine warnings. And the issue though is just when we have thunderstorms of this type of magnitude, I won't leave them on just to kind of avoid some confusion, but I just wanted to point that out as well. And again here, just to the northeast of Cleveland here over Euclid, you can see the brighter yellow return. That's where we're seeing those gusts that maybe even upwards of 65, 70 miles per hour, as Tyler alluded to a little bit ago. We had that gust of 71 there at the Toledo Water Crib Station there near Oregon, Ohio. So we'll watch that closely. And I continue to see, and especially now entering western Lorain County, there's right there around Wakeman, I'm seeing almost kind of a darker blue starting to show up on the velocity, and we're starting to get really close to the radar site. And so we're looking maybe 1,000 to 2,000 feet up, and that's probably the strongest velocity return that I've seen so far today for the wind.
Yeah, so National Weather Service out of Cleveland, it's important to highlight that they have upped the wind on that warning. They are saying that there is considerable damage expected.
Okay.
So they upped the max wind gust to 70 miles an hour, and they're stating, pretty much in their call to action is this is a dangerous situation. These storms are producing widespread wind damage across western Lorain County. So exactly what you're seeing on that, I would not want to be caught if anybody's out over the lake. They are, like you said, continuing to issue those marine warnings for 65 knots out over the lake. So we're continuing to see that as well. But it was important to note that that's kind of the first time we've seen that today of the 70 mile an hour wind tag and considerable damage there for Lorain County. So you're spot on with your analysis there as it now starts to race off into the Cleveland and Cuyahoga County area.
And one thing to note, just to kind of add on to this, okay, where we're seeing those really high winds, look at the reflectivity. That is not very impressive whatsoever, right? And so sometimes, as we always say, sometimes the radar may not look that impressive, but this is why your ground reports are even more important in situations like this. Again, if I were just a normal person and if I wasn't a weather geek, I would think that this is just, a moderate rain shower. But there's actually some intense winds going on here in western Lorain County. I'll take you back over to velocity here as well, just so that you can see what it is we're talking about. So again, these darker blues that are starting to show up here, I know they don't look that dark, but for me, I'm just going to kind of use it that way. Okay, so from Amherst, South Amherst, Oberlin down to Kipton, this particular spot right in here, these are winds that are exceeding by far 60 miles per hour. And as Owen alluded to, they went ahead and upped the warning here for Lorain County up to 70 miles per hour. So we definitely need to be indoors, away from windows. We are not talking about a tornado warning. However, 70 mile per hour winds, that's a lower end type tornado, right? So we do want you to be indoors. Again, we don't necessarily need you to go to that tornado safe place, but if you start to get damage, make sure that you are taking photos when it is safe to do so. You could submit them on our Bell Park Weather Network app. We'll be taking a look at that. We've got a lot of catch up to do there, I'm sure, from folks that may have sent some photos in yesterday and early this morning. But again, right now, the strongest area of thunderstorm activity, and again, I'm going to go back to radar for a second, the reflectivity side. There's not a whole lot here, right? But this is where we're seeing the strongest winds. And even out ahead of this, Elyria, I know Mark Spencer's up here, and if we see something, I'm sure he'll let us know. But down here to even portions of southern Lorain and northern Ashland County, velocity there, not even as intense as it is across parts of western Lorain County. So that's kind of our main focus at the present moment. That's heading right towards downtown Cleveland. And also this kind of an early call to action for those of you in Akron and Canton, northern even to Tuscarawas County. you could be seeing some new warnings issued for you here in just a little bit. And it looks like Ken in the comment section also saying there's some half-inch hail indicated on that cell just to the east of Cleveland. And yeah, I'm actually seeing that here towards Wickliffe and Euclid and Richmond Heights. This is actually probably the strongest reflectivity signature that we've seen today. We'll watch this little guy right here to the south of Wickliffe. Go to velocity real quick just to make sure that we're not, no rotation being noted there. Again, it's really important today to note that damaging wind is our primary concern again today. Is a tornado possible? Absolutely. And if one of you guys see the SPC outlook come out, just let me know if there's any changes. Obviously, we're going to that enhanced with a 30% wind. I would be kind of interested to see if they are going with anything for tornado. I know that was at 2% a little earlier, so I'll have to kind of watch and see what they elect to do with that. Tyler, are you seeing any new wind reports coming in? Oh, I may have lost him in there again. Oh, there he is.
I'm here. Sorry, I was unmuting myself.
That's all good.
Well, I will say there was a marine warning issued for up to 65 knots. I think you covered that though.
Yeah, they've just issued another one too. It looks like for
Yeah.
Lake and Cuyahoga, so that's not too surprising.
Yeah, they were mentioning also the chance for greater than 3/4 of an inch in hail.
Okay, so that would mean up to that penny-sized type threshold. Again, that's just below severe criteria. And it's also noted here at the bottom, you see our ticker running with our severe thunderstorm warnings. I went ahead and changed this. I should have done it last night, but this will update now roughly every 2 or so minutes at the bottom with the updated warnings for you. I only had it at a minute last night, so I apologize if we may have missed a couple warnings at the bottom there. But if you have any questions about who's under a warning at the present time, you can check our ticker at the bottom. And again, you can download our Bell Park Weather Network app. QR code's right there for you. It is free on both the Google and Apple Play stores. You guys are doing a fantastic job downloading that so far. We hope that you are liking that so far. Jacqueline is now saying big wind in Lorain, and even the wind is pretty nasty in Newark, and that Chrissy is saying that things are falling off the walls even in Licking County with some of the higher wind gusts. So probably means that homes are kind of being shaken a little bit with some of these really high gusts this afternoon, now that it is afternoon. And also Amber saying the wind is picking up in Millersburg, which is down there into Holmes County. We'll try to take a look at the southern end of this here for you. So right here near Nashville, you're seeing, this is probably where we're seeing some of those stronger gusts starting to pick up here. And again, Millersburg, you're right on the leading edge of this as well. So we'll watch that. Down here to Kilbuck, up to Holmesville, Fredericksburg, and Shreve. You guys were hit particularly hard last year in that duration there in southwestern Wayne County. And unfortunately now you guys are getting some pretty strong wind gusts kind of pushing through there as well. So if you're watching us from up there, good afternoon to you, and let us know if you are seeing any wind damage where you live. Some wind and some rain currently in the Zanesville area. So that's kind of where things are standing at the present moment in time. Again, we're watching the strongest wind gusts right now coming through Lorain County. And Owen, have they elected to up the wind at all in the warning for Cleveland as of yet that you are seeing?
I have not. I have not seen that. No. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm backtracking a little bit. No, I have not seen it up yet. I mean, I'm sure they haven't updated that warning just yet either. And the SPC is not out. They haven't updated the SPC outlook, I should say. So, and Tyler just did send in there a local storm report out of Ashland County saying thunderstorm wind damage, large tree limbs down, and a roof blown off an outbuilding there in Ashland County.
Awesome. So, yeah, so that's going to be the kind of the storm reports and the common type of things we are going to see as we head through the rest of the afternoon here. But real quick, we are going to kind of take a quick break here just to kind of reset some things and look over some things. Real quick, for those of you as well down to the northern mid-Ohio Valley, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch for parts of Guernsey and Belmont over into Ohio County. And we'll watch that again. That goes until 6 o'clock. The southern end of this line, not nearly as impressive, but even though that is the case, we're still seeing some gusty showers kind of crossing Coshocton County, Muskingum County. That's heading into Tuscarawas County shortly. I would expect a new warning to be required potentially from Pittsburgh. They'll be the ones that issue the one there for Tuscarawas County if they elect to do so. And then Stark, Summit, Portage, Geoghan Lake. You guys are kind of getting some early showers kind of out ahead of the main line. This is the guy right here, though, right? That's bringing all of our strong damaging winds, 60 to 70 miles per hour. And of course, we'll be watching that very shortly. So real quick, we're just going to kind of take a quick break here and reset for just a few minutes. For meteorologist Mike Joyce that was with us, I'm forecaster Nick Dunn, forecaster Tyler Phillips, and forecaster Owen Fritz. We'll keep you advised. Make sure you have our Bell Park Weather Network app when Thunder Roars go indoors, and we'll be back with you here in just a little bit. Thanks for watching.